Hello, everyone. It's Michael Gordon, your career and life coach consultant to handle all personal needs. So, today I'm going to have 5 really easy tips to really ace your job interview. Number one, you need to get there very, very early. You never know when these interviews may start a bit early. Also, by being there early, you're able to get a sense of the other applicants. You can be friendly, cordial, and kind of learn from the others in terms of their experiences. And sometimes by being in this waiting room, there are people who are observing your behavior to get a sense of your demeanor. For instance, I know that Zappos, they start getting a sense of how nice you are really right off the bat. Once you get on the bus to go to Zappos, the bus driver is actually part of the interview process because the bus driver will be providing personal opinions. I mean, no, career opinions about what they think of you, whether you were polite to them. So that is number two. Always be polite with the people who you are interacting with. You need to be polite with everyone who you are interacting with, whether it's the receptionist or paralegal or wherever. These individuals will have some impact on whether you get hired. That's really almost like a hidden trick that you may not have known actually about this, because it's not only the hiring managers who are making these decisions. Sometimes it really has to do with other individuals as well. Number three, smile. It actually has a huge impact, and research shows that people like to generally have a much better feeling and actually are much more positively disposed towards you as a result of you being smiling and thoughtful and really showing a better light. So it's definitely a good thing to show those feelings of happiness. It has quite an impact. Number four, it is very, very important that you be open and honest with your with the interviewer. The most important thing is they're going to really try to get a sense of if you have good candor, because a lot of people, they think that they can get away with lying. The truth is, these people have seen it every which way, backwards and forwards. You're not going to be able to put one on them, so don't really even bother. Instead, when you get a tough question such as, "Tell me some of your weaknesses," it's actually something that people always tend to really make a lot of misjudgments on. For one thing, they will tend to kind of slough off the question. Like, in other words, they will give the impression that one of their weaknesses is a strength. It's like, hey, one of my weaknesses is that I'm always super early, and none of my other coworkers are early. No, that's not quite what they're getting at. In fact, that will make it look as though you are incredibly self-serving and not completely honest with the recruiter. So the most important thing is to actually tell a story that really gives this idea that there is a weakness, but it's not a permanent part of your personality. That it's a very temporary issue that actually doesn't really get in the way of the work. I'll give an example. Let's say that you when you're working, some of your coworkers think that you have a tendency to be bossy because you tend to really you really are focused on deadlines. So you could say, well, I have a tendency to be my colleagues think I'm a little bit bossy because I have this tendency to really focus on deadlines and things like that. But I'm aware that sometimes this comes off as too obsessive. So I really understand their concerns, and this is something I'm working on. See, you turn something from a negative to a positive, and I think that's really something that's ideal. Another issue that oftentimes comes up is that they will your new employer will ask you, tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Now, this is a very, very important question because this is a way of seeing your mindset, whether you think that you are only interviewing for this specific position or whether you have in your mind larger ambitions in terms of where you would really like for things to go. It is important to suggest that you are not only applying for this position, that you have the skills that are needed for this organization and that you really have the right ambitions for the future. For instance, you could say, well, while I'm working on this analyst position, I really do believe that as a result of that, I will probably have management related skills, and I am a very flexible person, so I'm very open to taking on new roles. That is something they're looking for. It's very rare that an employer is only thinking about that specific position because they really would like to promote from within. So it is very important to not give the impression that you are just sticking around for a few years and then going to create your own business or things of that sort. So that's a few ideas to handle a career. Oh, one last thing. You need to be very confident. And what I think is important to be aware of in terms of confidence is to really realize that, yes, they are aware that this is an uncertain time period for you. You don't know what kind of questions you're going to ask, but actually, no matter what they ask, they're kind of really trying to get a sense of your thinking. They're not really trying to quiz you or trying to create a test. So no matter what comes up, it's really a question about your thinking process. And so that's something to really consider. There's not a pop quiz or anything like that. It's just a matter of understanding how you're thinking. And so that is a huge benefit to them to see if you're a good fit. But once you realize that, it should actually improve your sense of confidence because they're not really trying to test you. It's just, there are no gotcha questions. They're just trying to get a sense of how you think in order to decide if you're a good fit. So that's it for today, and I hope that you will subscribe and like and share with your friends because I believe this information is very useful for many people. And I'm also willing to help coach you one-on-one as a career consultant in order to give you some good ideas in terms of how to tackle your next interview. Talk to you soon.